All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at the incredible memoir of Trevor Noah, a story that starts, well, not with a party, but with a crime. And that crime? It was his own birth. I mean, that one sentence right there, it's the title of his book, and it's basically the key that unlocks his entire life. And he's not being dramatic here. This isn't some metaphor. It was a literal fact, thanks to one of the most unjust systems in modern history. So, to really get what he's talking about, you have to know this one word, apartheid. This was this brutal system in South Africa, a totally legal form of racial segregation. The whole point was to create these artificial divisions between people, just so the white minority could stay in power. And under those laws, any relationship between different races was totally illegal, which means a kid from one of those relationships, well, that kid's very existence was against the law. And this is the crime scene, so to speak. You had his mom, Patricia, a black woman from the Xhosa tribe, and his dad, Robert, a white guy, a Swiss-German expat. Their relationship was so forbidden, they had to go to insane lengths to hide it. I mean, his mom would actually dress up like a maid just to visit his dad's apartment so no one would get suspicious. And Trevor? He was the living, breathing proof of their crime, the one piece of evidence they just couldn't hide. So, right away, the consequences were huge. He basically had to be a secret. When they went out in public, can you believe this? His own mother would often have to walk on the other side of the street, just pretend she didn't know him. All of that just to keep them safe from the police. Just think about that for a second. A mom having to act like her own son is a total stranger. And all that hiding, all that isolation, it created this massive challenge for him growing up. I mean, how are you supposed to find your place in the world when that world was literally designed to pretend you don't even exist? And that really became the core problem of his childhood. When he was in his grandma's black neighborhood, Soweto, his lighter skin and perfect English made him stick out. But then, if you went to a colored or mixed race neighborhood, he still wasn't quite the right fit. He was either too black or too white. So he had to become this sort of chameleon, just to survive. But the thing is, he never really truly belonged anywhere. But in the middle of all that chaos and uncertainty, he did have one constant, one rock, and that was his mom, Patricia, an absolutely fierce, independent, and incredibly determined woman. Seriously, Patricia was just a force of nature. She was super religious, but she used her faith to be more independent, not less. She was always pushing Trevor to think for himself, to ask why, to challenge all the crazy rules of the world they lived in. She didn't just teach him how to survive, she gave him the tools to think his way out of the box that society was trying to build around him. And her love? Wow. It wasn't just about saying the right things or teaching him lessons. It was an action. And that was proven in this one absolutely terrifying moment that just shows you the insane lengths she would go to protect her kids. Okay, so picture this. They're coming home from church one Sunday, and the driver of their minibus just starts threatening them. And Patricia, without even a second to think, makes this life or death call. She yanks open the door of the moving van, shoves 9-year-old Trevor out, and then she leaps out right after him, holding his baby brother. I mean, that's not just courage, that is pure, raw survival instinct. So they were dealing with all these threats from the outside world, right? From the system, from strangers. But pretty soon, a new and in some ways much scarier danger started to grow from inside their own home. Trevor's mom ended up marrying a mechanic named Abel. And at first, he seemed great, really charismatic. But that relationship it decayed into an absolute nightmare. Abel's business started to fail, he started drinking more and more, and all that charm just vanished, replaced by this dark, violent streak that took over their home. And this led to a really, really complicated lesson for Trevor about violence. So he gets bullied, and he tells Abel. And what does his stepfather do? He goes and finds one of the bullies and just viciously whips him. And for a split second, Trevor describes feeling this flash of satisfaction, which was immediately followed by this wave of pure horror. It was this awful moment where he understood how anger can be twisted and how violence just creates more violence. It's a vicious cycle. Abel's impact on their family was just devastating on every single level. He brought them to financial ruin, losing all of Patricia's money that she'd worked so hard for. And then there was the constant physical abuse. The safe home his mom had fought tooth and nail to create was just being torn apart from the inside out. But here's the amazing thing. It was in the middle of all this chaos, being an outsider in society and dealing with the turmoil at home, that Trevor started sharpening the one tool that would let him build a whole new life. He had this incredible realization. His skin color might set him apart, but language could bring him in. He became a master of different languages, learning how to code switch and just glide effortlessly between black, colored, and white communities. For him, language became his passport. It was his way of belonging somehow everywhere and nowhere all at once. And just like that, he completely flipped the script. The very thing that was supposed to be his weakness, the thing that made him an outsider, being stuck between all these different worlds, he turned it into his greatest strength. It gave him this totally unique point of view, the ability to see all sides of an issue, to act as a bridge. And honestly, that's the foundation of the comedian and the global commentator we all know today. Which really leaves us with this one powerful question. If your very existence is considered a crime, what does that make your identity? What Trevor Noah's story shows us, I think, is that identity isn't just about the label society slaps on you. It's about what you manage to build from the pieces you're given, even if those pieces start with a crime.